What is our next topic, Kevin?
Our next topic here is about Andor. Going back to Star Wars here, Andor Season 2 is delayed. This comes to us from IGN. Andor Season 2 will no longer premiere in August 2024 as Disney and Lucasfilm have not included it in their schedule for next year. Disney's list of films and shows premiering in 2024 includes those with specific dates and those without. But Andor is absent from both lists. Star Wars is otherwise present with The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch Season 3, and Tales of the Jedi Season 2, all listed with the vague 2024 release window. Andor Season 2's August 2024 premiere was announced at Star Wars Celebration in April 2023, but the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA is basically what it's trying to say, SAG-AFTRA,
SAG-AFTRA.
and Writers Guild of America, WGA, strikes likely pushed it back. Its team was active on the picket line, with writer Beau Willimon even starting a one-way out in New York City to mimic the show. The second season of the Diego Luna starring show, which will connect the dots between seasons 1 and Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope prequel Rogue One, was reportedly just weeks away from completing production before the strikes began. Disney hasn't shared why the show will no longer premiere in 2024. I know why it probably won't premiere in 2024, because if you look at the list of projects that they've got coming out next year already, they've got so much.
It's a
Like,
lot.
they've got to do that, but also they're juggling with Marvel projects as well. Because, this is all owned by Disney. Disney has to juggle, like, okay, now that I've got everybody attached to Star Wars, I can't put out a Marvel project because, we're watching Star Wars right now. If I take them away from that, then it takes away from the audience viewership for us. So let's just do that first. And then now this season, we're all going to focus on Marvel again. And then we're going to focus back on Star Wars again. There's already so many things. Look at this. The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch Season 3, and Tales of the Jedi Season 2. My God, that's insane. But I think that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably the reason why they just don't want to stuff us too much. They also, if you look at Marvel and you see they had She-Hulk, Moon Knight, they had Winter Soldiers, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They had like all these different TV shows, WandaVision, Loki. Everything was coming out all one after another to the point where it's just exhausting after a while. You don't want to overstimulate the viewer. I mean, listen, I'm a nerd. I'm a big old geek, so I'll watch everything, Raul. I don't care what comes out when.
Same. Yeah,
But, like,
same.
we're talking about regular audience goers, right? Like regular people who are sitting at home, flipping on Disney Plus. They've got other shows to watch. They don't have all the time in the world to watch every show at the same time. So when you're not a total geek like us, you don't have the time to do that all the time. So how do we redirect your attention to get to this point, this new show? I mean, again, that's my assumption if I were a Disney brain and I was working for Disney.
Not a bad theory. I mean, sure, you want to spread everything out as much as possible. You don't want to cannibalize, the audience watching your content.
Totally.
But I
Well,
mean, I guess of all. Sorry, go ahead. What were
no,
you
no,
saying?
I was going to say, what do you think about this, Raul?
I mean, I was just about to say, of all the projects, it is curious that they would delay Andor of all the projects that they got coming out, because they finished production right
Mm,
before the strike. They finished production. I mean, I see no reason why they couldn't have done some, post production or something yeah, something along those lines. Um, so I do think it's odd that of all the projects they got, it seems like Andor was pretty far along. Why delay that one and not any of the other ones?
right. Yeah. And also, I wanna point out the list of these other projects one more time: The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, The Bad Batch Season 3, Tales of the Jedi Season 2. I'll be honest, for me, the only one I'm really excited about is The Acolyte, just because
Me too. Yeah.
I love the idea of it being about Siths, like just a bunch of Siths. Are you kidding me? That's gonna be so cool. I think it's like the origin of the Sith and stuff like that. Or I don't know what the full details are, but
Not the origin, but it'll take place. It'll take place a little bit before the I think the Phantom Menace. Just getting
right.
Yeah, seeing the earlier days of the Sith and how they were operating and stuff, but not the. I don't
Like
think it's the
High
origins.
Republic kind of era kind of thing.
Yeah, High Republic. I think if I'm correct in remembering that,
I
this
mean,
might be
listen,
in the High Republic era.
as long as I get a scene where like you're in a cave and all the Sith are like trying to use a democracy kind of tactic to decide what they're all gonna do, but then it ends with all of them just trying to kill each other. I'm in. Like I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see armies of Jedi fighting armies of Sith at some point. Like that would be incredible. I think that'd be so cool. I don't remember if it's Acolyte that was this. Do you remember when we reported back in like Disney D23 when they were talking about Star Wars? And there was one show where it's like it's gonna be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but with Star Wars.
I think that was it. I think it's the Acolyte they were
It's the
talking about.
Acolyte.
Yeah, yeah.
If that is the case, I'm in. Like that's what I want. I want to see like a Game of Thrones level kind of storytelling for this thing. And the best thing about the Acolyte is that it's going to be its own storyline. Like it doesn't have to be connected to all these future films that come after it, in the timeline. It's its own thing. So I'm so pumped to see a new story taking place way back in the past when all the Sith were around. That is so cool, Raul. Anyways, then you have the Skeleton Crew, and I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
Goonies in space. Yeah, that's
Well,
cool.
that's the only thing that keeps me interested in Skeleton Crew. I'm not as excited about that as the Acolyte, but I am interested in Skeleton Crew because of how it was pitched as being like Amblin kind of style of film or whatever in the Star Wars universe with these kids, and you've got the early Spielberg Amblin stuff, and they of course kind of reproduced that in Stranger Things. With the kids, kind of, it felt, especially that first season, felt really Spielbergian, like a mix of Spielberg and Stephen King, which I enjoyed the vibe and how the kids got along, and the chemistry they had. But I really appreciate that, the E.T., Goonies, that kind of feel. So just from that alone, I was like, okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, like I say right now, I'm like, whatever. But I'm pretty sure as soon as I start watching it, I'm gonna be hooked. Like it is gonna be fun. I'm sure it will be. But then you got the Bad Batch season 3. I think that's cool. But I'll be honest, I never watched the original series of the Bad Batch, so I haven't seen season 1 and 2.
Me either.
I just haven't had time to watch it. But
Yeah.
you'd figure the two of us would since we're voice actors. Like we.
One of us. You'd think one of us at least.
Man, but then you got Tales of the Jedi, which is another voiceover related thing. It's another animated series. I really liked season 1 of this show though, because they
Yeah.
have you watched this one? This one's
No,
so cool.
no, I haven't watched it yet, but there were a couple things that intrigued me, as far as with the teasers that I saw, and I think there was a story in there about Count Dooku and a
Yes.
younger Qui-Gon Jinn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was in. I'm curious to see that.
They had it was a really cool through line of all of Count Dooku's history before episode 2. Or episode 1, really, before episode 1.
Right.
They told it so well. Like I can't wait for season 2 because if they're gonna do more stuff like that, I'm in. Do it. But again, the Acolyte, that's gonna be my boy right there. It's gonna be incredible. But again, Andor season 2, am I sad that it's gonna move on to maybe 2025? Sure. But at the same time, I know that the first season was so good that if they need to take time to make sure it's perfect, do it. Just go make it perfect. I think these other shows have been in progress for years now to the point where it's like, yeah, if I think we've taken enough time for these shows, they're probably good to go. So entertain me this year and I shall be happy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Thank you. I'll be here. I'll be all week. Yeah, good stuff. Good.